Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is Crystal Hill, CEO of Hill House Publishing, here today with some of the authors of Beyond Coincidence. At Hill House Publishing, we love to create and write high vibrational books that help to empower and awaken humanity and raise the consciousness on the planet. And what better title to do that with than to really investigate what lies beyond coincidence? How do we increase the synchronicities in our lives? So that's what this latest book is about. You can see the purchase link scrolling down there on the screen. You can purchase it at any time. We've already got to #1 in new releases in one category. So very excited. And yeah, with me today, Nancy Lee Bentley and Laura Fox. Welcome and congratulations to becoming a published author. Nancy, I know for you it's not the first time.
Right.
And Laura, I don't think for you either, right? So Nancy, would you like to introduce yourself and share with the viewers what you're excited about in this book?
Well, Crystal, and congratulations to you, because you are the impetus to make this all happen and stuff. But, truthfully, when I first heard about this book, Beyond Coincidence, I went, I have to be in this. There was no question about it, because I just sensed that this is a message that goes that goes quickly. It's very high, like you say, high frequency. People get it. And I think people are waking up. That's one other thing why it's perfectly timed. So anyway, but because I can't tell you how many different experiences with so-called coincidences, because guess what? There are no such things as coincidences. Everybody blows it off like, oh, it was just a coincidence. That was just a coincidence. But the reality is there are no coincidences. And so I've had so many experiences. I am a holistic nourishment expert, a food and holistic health professional. And I've gotten the name of that gutsy lady for my sort of big mouth and calling it like it is, and also my play on words, which are like, oh my gosh, I worked that one. But I've done just about everything you can imaginable with food. And in my work around the guts and eating healthy and all that, I have been also working with the tract of what I call nourishment, which is, okay, we got the physical food, we've got the spiritual level of nourishment, because that often has nothing to do with food. Well, it is certainly, food is supposed to be nourishing, right? But it's not always. However, there are other things that nourish us. And that is really what the key of what I'm focusing here. And I am hoping, that in all of this, as I say, my career, while I've had a rich and unorthodox career out of the box, doing everything you can with food, it has not been exactly what you would call the joy of cooking. Because there have been so many experiences, and both very positive, exciting, unbelievable. You just can't make this stuff up. But then also not so pleasant experiences. I call them sour and bitter tastes in experiences that have also been so synchronous, so perfectly timed, so significant that I just had to share this whole spectrum. And so I'm hoping that the readers are going to be able to relate and see the metaphors and understand that, hey, everything is connected. There are no coincidences. And that, well, I think food there's a metaphor, there's a whole story, the whole web of life around food and nourishment that I'm bringing forth in my work. And I hope that the readers will get a chance to see that they too can be nourished by this phenomenon of synchronicity if they can just partake of it, relax enough, enjoy, etc., and listen and receive the blessings. I say the trail of breadcrumbs that synchronicity has to offer us.
Thank you. I really love what you were saying. We always so often shrug it off saying, oh, that's just a coincidence.
Yes.
But when we really look at the string of events in our lives, we can see that these moments, these events always happen in response to something. And maybe that's the distinction that we make. A coincidence is something that is just a random event that happens, but a synchronicity is something that responds to, where the external world responds to something that happens internally, like a prayer or an intention. And and when we focus on that, we all know that what we focus on is what we get. And so if we shrug these coincidences off, then it's like giving the universe a slap in the face saying, oh, you don't want that anymore. But if we actually say, oh, wow, this is a synchronicity, and we celebrate it, then we can call more of them into our lives. And really, that was my intention when I came up with this title. It's like, we live in such a time where there's so much fear mongering, and we feel so the mass consciousness still feels so out of control that we have to give hope and inspiration and bring our focus on this because it exists simultaneously. So that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to bring you all together and share these stories. And so, Laura, with that, I'd love you to introduce yourself and what core message perhaps the reader might be able to take away from your story and your chapter.
Okay. Yeah. When Crystal, when you first told me about this book that you were putting together, a story from my past popped in my head, and it was something that I really hadn't thought about in a long time. And I'd never told anybody. And I just realized that this book was the perfect home for this story, because it needed to be told and celebrated. And I thought, if I share this story, it might encourage people to look at their own past and see these kinds of experiences where you got help and you didn't even realize it. That maybe you didn't even realize you needed anything, or you didn't know what to ask for, and it was there anyway.
I love that. Yeah, sometimes we don't know what to ask for, and then the universe knows better, or God, source, whatever you want to call that higher power, and yeah, it guides us. So, do you want to share a little bit about who you are and what you do in the world and what you're passionate about, Laura?
Sure. Yeah. I am very passionate about books. I'm a ghostwriter. I also do editing and book coaching. Basically anything I can to help people get their own books out there, because everybody has a book in them, and people have such amazing stories and so much wisdom that they can share with each other. And whenever anyone tells me that they've thought about writing a book but they're just not going to do it, it makes me kind of sad, because there's another book that I'll never get to read. So I just love my work because I'm helping bring more books into the world.
Beautiful. And so, yeah, your style of writing is so beautiful. You're really taking the reader into a world of your mind, a world of your childhood. And when you shared your story, which is about if I'll give one thing away about your chapter, it's about when you were a child, you didn't like you didn't want to grow up because being a child just seemed so much more interesting. And look at my children now, and my daughter's exactly the same. And I'm like, wow, what do I need to do to help her feel like being an adult is not that bad, and just bringing those. So that was something that I immediately related to your story in my own life, and it made me question how I could make things better. And I know so many of the stories are doing that for different people, and we've had early reviews that reflect that. And if you have any early reviews handy, feel free to bring them out. Nancy, I know you have an excerpt there that you wanted to share from the book, so maybe we do that first, and then Laura, you can have a look if you can find one of your incredible early reviews that you received.
Okay, thank you.
Well, this is cool. So, my chapter, I'm Nancy Lee Bentley. My chapter was called "The Recipe for a Healthy Life." A mouthful. The Recipe for a Healthy Life: Seasonings, Secrets, and Synchronicities. And so, of course, since I'm all about food, this is, as I call it, practical woo-woo from through the food lens. Okay, but so my whole theme is about food and how that is connected, and it's been the context of my life. So anyway, I also share about how we have some basic tastes and they correlate with experiences in our lives, which we don't always love, like salt, sweet, sour, and bitter. And so I talk about all of those experiences. And this part is kind of wrap up. It's like my bitter has become bittersweet. So, as I look back, my deepest and most profound understanding and wisdom about food, the higher universal spheres of nourishment and the nature of true whole health, has only come about through my own experience and intuition, along with deep listening and ultimately compassion for myself, which has allowed me to remember who I really am. So, as I say, synchronicity is the seasoning, but there's something else that's the real nourishment. And so I say synchronicity, if we're open to it, can be like a magic white light, a candle in the darkness, the tip of a paranormal or iceberg, reflecting a much deeper interconnected existence. And this can be a beacon of hope for us to know and to connect with a much deeper reality. We're not alone. We are aligned. We are worthy and part of something much greater. And so the resulting seeing outside the matrix of separation in this distracted, disconnected world is a loving gift that can help us and each other, both individually and collectively, to be and know wholeness and peace and well-being. And hey, we are spiritual beings having a human experience here. Our willingness to slow down enough to pay attention and follow the trail of breadcrumbs, as I call it, opens us to nurturing blessings like synchronicity. When we allow ourselves to be guided and go ahead without a printed menu, because there is no recipe or formula for life, right? We can find a key to nurture ourselves and each other, satisfy our deepest hungers, and gain our ultimate liberation. So, as I say, everything is connected, but we have to remember the secret ingredient is always love. We can't hear you.
I just realized. Yes, sorry about that. If people don't want to read your whole chapter now, I don't know what. That was beautiful. Such a juicy excerpt from your chapter. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, your connection between the word play is always really, really beautiful and sprinkled throughout the book and sprinkled throughout your chapter. So yes, so if you are just joining us now, we are launching Beyond Coincidence today, and the purchase link is streaming across the bottom of this live stream. Laura, do you have something to share with us, something to read, maybe a review that really captures this really beautiful, soulful writing that you create for the reader?
Yeah, I can share a review. And also, I just want to say that I loved reading Nancy's story. So beautiful, and so many really deep, nuanced thought in there that I just want to come back to it later. I found myself highlighting, and really beautifully stated. So really enjoyed Nancy's chapter. Let's see.
Yeah, we've got some people watching. Thank you, Terry, for sharing that. Yeah, very, very excited for sharing this book with everyone. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So this is from Beth Rapps, and she said, Laura Fox's piece in Beyond Coincidence proves the advice she gives at the tail end of it. Trust that guidance and support are available, and you will find them, even if they show up in unlikely places. I didn't come to Laura's piece looking for guidance, but for pleasure and enjoyment. I got those, and much more. I received exactly the wisdom transmission I most needed, embodied in the advice her entire story so amply and warmly justifies.
It's beautiful. That is so beautiful. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I feel this theme of looking for guidance in unexpected places, right? That's really what it's all about. It's the street light that goes off. It's suddenly seeing 111, or the other day I was talking to a lady about her daughter maybe having another miscarriage because she had one before and she was afraid that that might happen again. And then the number plate in that as we were driving was saying birthing. I'm like, well, there's your sign. She's going to have, it's not going to happen. She's going to be fine. So it's in those unexpected moments, or as we all know, of course, the radio, suddenly a song comes on. And
oh, yes. Crystal, it's so amazing because I'm sure no matter what people believe or, what experience they've had, some of us are very conscious about it. It's like, oh, what story do I share? But, I'm sure everybody has had these experiences where they don't even realize, like, for example, you're in a crowded downtown area. There's no place to park and you're late for your appointment. And so all of a sudden, right in front of you, a car pulls out and a parking space is there for you. Or as another example is where I'm going, like, you've been thinking about somebody and then you're calling them up and guess what? They're calling you at the same time. Now, I think, these are pretty mundane experiences, but then there are a lot of deeper ones too that we share. But I mean, I'm sure everybody's at least had some kind of, experience with this, even if it's been small or mundane or whatever, but it's all around us. It's like,
it is all around us. And so in this book you're sharing, like, there's some incredible stories of synchronicity, absolutely incredible. So the bigger ones that really show us that in those moments when it feels hopeless, there's something that happens that guides us. And so that's really the intention of this book. And I believe from all of the authors, we really want to bring more consciousness and awareness to how do we create our reality. We can, and there's lots of tips in the book as well. Every author is sharing a tip on how you can increase synchronicities. And I think I'll just give one away, and that is to, actually, Nancy, it's in you. I think it's in both of yours. It's to slow down, right? You've mentioned it earlier. When we slow down, we can hear and listen to the guidance that is all around us.
Yeah, it's definitely true. In fact, even to the point of, we're just blowing down the road, with our to-do lists, and we're in a lot of driving mode where we can't even digest our food unless we were in the other part of our nervous system, in the rest and digest area. So slowing down is not just a nice idea, but it's a longevity idea too. It's like functioning at your optimum, but you gotta just slow down, right? So you can see and experience these wonderful miracles that are happening all the time.
Yeah. Do you have any parting messages for those people watching right now? They're thinking about buying the book. Go buy the book. It's amazing. These authors are incredible. But Laura, is there anything, like, if you were to summarize it, that you would love the readers to take away from your chapter and from this book?
I just hope that it really inspires gratitude and assurance that that we really don't have to try so hard to make things happen. The universe is conspiring.
Yeah, I love that. We don't have to try so hard.
Yeah,
Nancy, what about you?
Well, I sound like a broken record, but it's about how, we, we are we're a person, as I say, we're a human being, not a human doing. Okay. We know we're not just that body. We're a body, we're a mind, we're a heart and a soul. And while we tend to be focused about the 3D and all of that, but actually there is no separation. And so what I'm hoping and I'm trusting that this book and the things that we're sharing will show that everyone has access to this. There is no separation. You can experience this connectivity, which is into the spiritual. I don't care what your philosophy or your religion or whatever. This is, as I say, practical woo-woo wisdom in action, which we all have access to.
Absolutely. Really well said. Thank you so much, Nancy. And congratulations, Terry, for getting the book and I'd love to hear all of the amazing insights you get to deepen. I mean, you're sharing, you're already experiencing synchronicities daily. So this will just deepen the embodiment of that and the trust in that, because that's really what it's all about. It's about us learning to trust that we are, as you said, Nancy, we're not separate. We are part of a bigger whole, and we are always taken care of, and we can make our lives easier if we learn to tap into the synchronicities and learn to create them. And that's really what this book is offering. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for purchasing the book. Thank you both to you, for your wisdom that you're sharing. And we'll see you all very soon. And leave a review for us on Amazon if you are resonating with this book, so that more and more people can see it and read it and also become the empowered co-creators of their lives. Thank you so much.
I think